Hey guys, it is Tanya and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over how I figure out my house shapes and floor plans because I've gotten an overwhelming amount of suggestions to do a floor plan tutorial. So I don't feel like there is a definite way, like a correct way, a right or wrong way to address floor plans and house shape, but I'm just going to talk you through my personal thought process and some of the tips and tricks that I use that hopefully will help you guys along the way. But first, as you can see, we are in the map screen when you first enter the game, and there's a question I get a lot, which is how do you get unlimited money to build a house? So I'm assuming the reason most of you guys have that is because you're like entering the game and you're like, oh, I'm playing as this family. I'm going to click on them. I'm going to go down here and press play. That's the problem. If you want unlimited money, you have to select a lot nobody lives on. So I'm going to go ahead and just click right here on Optimus Outlook and click Build. Nobody lives on this lot, so there should be absolutely no budget on what you can spend. And that's how you can go ahead and build without money restrictions. So as you can see, we have an unlimited sign down here at the bottom. So we are free to go ahead and start building on this lot without having to worry about a budget. A lot of times when I'm building a house, I'm just kind of experimenting with what shapes I want to make. So there is a bunch of tools down here for building walls, and you can do the wall tool. This is a room tool, so you can drag out actual boxes. You can do it by points, so you can just kind of make a custom shape and then connect it. There's a bunch of different ways to create rooms, and I'm just going to go over how I would approach, I guess, like a suburban house, because that's a little bit more of a generic, simple, common thing that a lot of us play in if you're going to play with family gameplay or whatnot. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to do what most of the time I do, which is I just create a bunch of boxes and combine them together, and then I delete the interior walls when I'm going to work on a floor plan. So let's just kind of drag out a box here. I'm going to say my thought process tends to be, I know that if I have a 4 wide box, I can fit in a 2 wide window, or if I want one of these like 3 wide windows, I might go ahead and not place it like that. I would either extend this so that it was 5, or I would, make it smaller so it is 3 wide for that. And then if I have that, I'm like, oh, that's a really narrow room though, but I could go ahead and have a bump out on the side that is a little bit more inward so that there's a little bit more dimension going on here. So that's kind of cute. However, I feel like we probably want a spot for a door. So I'm thinking a 2 wide door. So let's put a 2 wide bump out right there and grab one of the base game doors that I use quite a lot in these type of builds. I think that's looking pretty good. And then I'm actually going to extend this out so we can add some more windows. So I'm going to add windows from the same pack. These are the Seasons windows. I think they're pretty cute, and I think one would fit really nicely there. You could always put them all the way across, but I feel like that looks like too many windows personally, so I would just put one in the middle. That's just my personal preference though. All right, so we have this so far. I feel like this side looks a little bit bland, and I'm thinking it might work as a living room because it's going to be a bigger space. So I'm actually going to add another little bump out over here, so maybe we can go ahead and put a fireplace in that later. And then I'm not really sure how this is going to work. Maybe this will go into a hallway. There could be bedrooms and bathroom back here. This could be a kitchen area. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just imagining it as I go. You can always change all of that up later. However, I think we're going to try and make this a 2-story home because a lot of the questions I got when I asked about what you guys would like to know about floor plans revolved around placing staircases. So one really quick tip though here, press down Control while you are building walls. You can go ahead and delete walls the same way that you build them. I don't use this too often because I tend to press the wrong key, as you probably saw all the time. But if you do this, you can just delete the walls and make this into one big room. I am going to go ahead and extend the back of the house a bit right now though. Let's figure out how we want to do this. I think that's probably a decent size for a downstairs, maybe a 1 square wide further back. But if we grab some stairs here, I'm just going to grab whatever ones. They take up 5 spaces if you are on the lowest wall height. 1 to get onto the stairs, 3 for the actual stairs, and 1 to get off the stairs. For stair placement, I tend to either put them in the entryway near the door, or sometimes they'll be in a living room. Those are basically the 2 I do. You can face it directly at the door like this, or you could do more of an approach like this so you can kind of see the stairs. Like when you walk in, you can see the balustrade, and I think that looks really nice as well. I'm not sure what I want to do for this house. I feel like either one could work. I think I'm going to go ahead and place them right there. So that brings it, so we have upstairs, which has all this space around it, and obviously we have not built the upstairs yet. I'm going to build a box right here so that it covers this section that has come up, and then we have these two bits that don't have anything on them. I'm thinking perhaps I will also do a box right here, and then to create a kind of floor right here, I'm going to go ahead and create one right here and delete the walls and the ceiling. There's other ways to do this, but sometimes I find it easiest to just do it this way. This is so that I can put a roof over that, and I'm actually going to put another flooring underneath that so that there can be a porch right there as well. So then we're going to go ahead and just extend this back so it's covering the whole staircase area so that we're upstairs and filling that all in nicely. And then I'm going to do the same thing back here, but I'm going to go ahead and actually push this inward a little bit and over so that it's not entirely flush on the back, because I think it's nice to have the house be a little bit of a different shape. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I think on this side, we'll go ahead and add a little bump out there as well. And probably a deck as well. I feel like adding decking spaces that will be on foundation look nice in the end. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it this way, but just showing you the thought process. Also, I will add a roof for this, and I'm not going to explain too much my decisions on this, but I do plan on doing a roofing tutorial sometime in the next couple of weeks as well, because that is another suggestion of a tutorial a lot of people have asked me to do. So I do want to do that, but I'm not going to talk it over in this video, as this is just supposed to be focused on floor plans. I'm actually going to go ahead and, for the purposes of making the roof look better, which I'll go over this more in the roofing tutorial, I'm going to actually duplicate this little bump out on the top level so that we can kind of hide the roof bits a little bit better. So there we go. That looks pretty cute, I think. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to grab another roof piece and fill that in on this little bit here. And I'm going to lower this down. And if you hold Alt, you can kind of lower it without having to deal with it snapping to the grid, I suppose. So just going to finish that up real quickly here. And also, if you click on the house, this button in the middle here, this is how you raise and lower foundation. So we're just going to put this up on a foundation. I think that's a little bit too tall, but just going to quickly finish up the roofs, and then we'll get to the interior shape. One other thing I like to add when the side of a house is looking pretty bare, and also because it's pretty realistic, is a chimney. This is just kind of a fake chimney made out of these 2x1 rooms. And I tend to just do it to the top like that, and then I will grab one of these half walls, which is in your wall category, and go ahead and build out a little room on top as well to kind of make a fake chimney. You could also place one of the chimney items, which is in your roof category here, in there if you want, or you can just leave it as is. I think I'm going to leave this one as is, but there are a lot of chimneys to choose from in here that you can go ahead and place in there to have more of a chimney top, which is kind of cool. Anyway, I didn't finish placing windows here, but I will quickly place them the way I typically would. So here I would not try and center them with the windows below. I would try and center them within the wall. So I would put 2 here, 2 in the middle, and up here you could do like 3 across. You could do one of these. Also, I'm going to make sure that I have the cheat bb.move objects on, because the roofs are actually a little bit in the way of the windows. So that makes it kind of frustrating. Actually, I think I like the 3 there. On the sides here, I tend to, I don't know what's going to be where this fireplace is, but I like to have windows like directly on either side of them quite often, or you don't actually need any on this side, but we're just placing them there to start. I also a lot of times will go back and change windows once we are on the interior of a home. I just like to place them down where I think they look best on the outside, and then we can always fix them later. I also think there will probably be a door right here leading out onto this back balcony, and then let's just get some windows over on this side as well. So I think that's what we're going to start with for now. And so let's go inside and see what we are working with. Upstairs, it's already kind of sectioned off, so I'm going to go ahead and delete all of those walls like I had mentioned before, so that we can just start off from scratch and figure out a floor plan. I think we already did that downstairs. Yes, we did. So you can see all the tiles here. Oh, I did not do it here. You can see all the tiles here, and I think over time, the more practice you get, you can kind of identify how big a room needs to be functional, or at least most rooms. Like sometimes there might be furniture you don't use as often, so it might not be as easy. But I'm just going to go over how I tend to kind of separate floor plans, and I think stair placement helps a lot with that. If it's a central spaced stair, like if it's in the middle of the house, that really helps with upstairs floor plans, because then you can have rooms all around the stairs instead of off to one side, which makes the floor plan a little bit more difficult to do. So downstairs, let's see what I'm thinking here. I tend to like to put living rooms over by the fireplace, although I think when we were first doing this, I was thinking the living room might be over here, but now I'm kind of thinking it might be over by this fireplace area, which works out pretty well because I also want to put the door to outside right there. I don't think I would normally use this door, but we're going to go ahead and place that down for now because it works out pretty well for what we're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and place a wall here, dividing this space like this, I think. Actually, no, it would work a lot better if we did it on this side of the staircase. So then the staircase is actually in the living space. I think that would look pretty cute. We might also move this door over here. I'm trying to think of how I want to divvy this space. A bathroom would fit really well right here if you wanted to have a small bathroom. A 3x2 is a typical like small bathroom, I would say, in The Sims. You can fit it in a smaller space, but not without move objects and testing a bunch of stuff. So I think this could work as a small living space and a bathroom back there. If we add a wall right here, this back here could either be a spare bedroom or an office, leaving these two empty walls here for counters, for a kitchen other than like a door to this room or an archway to that room. And then we have a pretty dining space right when you walk in. So you walk in, it's kind of open concept into the living room and the dining space and kitchen. I like that. And there's a bathroom back there. So then if we go upstairs, I tend to put a lot of bathrooms like right behind the stairs. I don't think that's going to work well for this house though. Also, it's important to remember that you need space to like get around. So I think I am going to block this off into a room right here. This might be a good like really big bathroom. That could work pretty well. This could be a bedroom. I think that's a pretty good sized bedroom as well. And then you have to remember that in order to get to this bedroom, you can't have something blocked off like this. It has to be smaller than that on the end right here. So I'm trying to decide what would be a good thing to put right here. I also sometimes will like put a little block like this when it helps divvy up space a little bit better, because that might help figure out where to put stuff. But right now we're kind of in a little bit of a dilemma because maybe this room isn't going to work because we need to have access to it. So what is the best way to deal with that? Not entirely sure. It's definitely trial and error, like a lot of trial and error. And also deciding that this window isn't going to work here because we're going to have to put a wall between the windows. So you probably want to have separate windows in that space. So let's go ahead and grab another wall and try this again. This is going to be a pretty narrow hallway. I don't typically like to do like one wide hallways like this, but this is a much smaller house and I think it might work out fairly well in the end. So I think this could be a bedroom and so could this. So that's two very small bedrooms and a larger bedroom. And you could also, if you wanted to, honestly, like divvy that off too, and this could be like an ensuite or a half bath up there. This could actually be a bedroom. This could be a half bath. That works pretty well actually. It's pretty small, but I think it would work. And this is a very simple floor plan. Of course, there's a lot of different ways you could do it, but I think that's how I would tackle it. So I'm just going to quickly put down some flooring and stuff so we can visualize the spaces a little bit better. So I'm just going to grab some lights. I'm sizing them down using the left and right bracket keys on my keyboard. I do that a lot. I obviously did not size this one down, but I think it just makes them a little bit less, I don't know, distracting. So I'm going to put these upstairs, and it's important to also make sure that we have like railings and stuff on the stairs. That's not really the point of this video, but I'm just going to place some furniture in these rooms so you kind of have an idea. So I wanted to make this room fairly spacious because I want to have a double bed. This is actually a really nice big master bedroom in my opinion. I'm also going to move these down. I prefer to have the windows all a little bit lower to the ground like this, or about halfway, or I lean towards lower because a lot of houses I lived in were the windows were lower to the ground. So I knew that this would be a nice spacious master bedroom, because in here, if you had it in this room, you could only access one side of the bed unless you put it in this direction, but it'd be really, really tight and you wouldn't have time, like enough space for large bedside tables. So this would probably be the master bedroom. We're gonna want some doors going into these rooms. So there's some beds in these rooms you can fit in, and you can do all kinds of stuff with these bedrooms and make them work the way you want. This bathroom, you could do it a functional bathroom, but it's a little bit tight. I would probably just do this one as a half bath, so you can just have a toilet and a sink in here. Granted, that's not a great idea for a 4-bedroom house, but it's up to you what you want to do with it. And of course, you could always change one of these rooms to not be a bedroom. Maybe it's an office, maybe it's a gym. There's all kinds of different things that it could be, or you could open up the space and make some of the rooms bigger. I'm just going to put a bookcase in here so it symbolizes that's what I was thinking that room would be. Let's quickly grab some counters so I can show you how I was going to space this area out. So let's get some base game counters in hopefully a not horrible swatch. I don't know which swatch. I guess we'll do something like bright. Let's do some ugly orange counters. All right, so I'm going to place some counters here. I went over this in another tutorial, how to access this counter panel right here. But you can just kind of place these around like this. Probably get rid of that for the stove and put the fridge on the end. I like to put the fridge on the end because it doesn't directly connect to the counters very well, so I like to hold down Alt while I'm placing it and scoot it in. And if you put it on the end, you don't have to worry about then scooting all the counters on the other side closer to it as well. And then of course just grab a sink to put here. I think this spacing worked really well. Of course you could add cabinets along there, and then you could put a whole dining space over here as well. It's actually a pretty big house, so maybe a bigger table would be nice. But I kind of like this one. No, because it's too small for the space. And we do have a 4-bedroom house here, even though it is a fairly small house. I think it's a good idea to have a bigger table. So we're just going to quickly grab a table, and you can kind of see how this might fit in the space a little bit better right here. This area you could make into any kind of like cute seating nook. I imagine like some corner couches, or like, what are those called? Like the cushions in the windows. Bay windows, kind of. You can make that into that sort of area. That's kind of what I imagined. But you can of course add any size table you want here, get a nice rug under it, and I think this space would work pretty well. But I think that's pretty much all I wanted to show off in regards to floor planning. I think I addressed how I approach floor plans. Obviously everyone does it differently, and that's just kind of how the how it goes really. And yeah, so this is how I approach floor plans. I just kind of, and house shape, I just kind of imagine it as I go. You get used to the house shape, or like the size of items, as you do more houses, or as you build more houses. So that is good to know. It's also good to know to have at least 3x2 bathrooms. If you want a full bathroom, you can get away with it in this size, but this is better for a half bathroom. And then knowing how big a 2-person bed is, as well as some window spacing things. Obviously I did not cover everything in this tutorial. I just wanted to cover the basics on how to get unlimited money, how I do my house shape, how to add foundation and windows, where I place stairs and why, and where I might, how I might divide this space. Hopefully this helped you guys a little bit. I'm not the best at tutorials, but I tried my best, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can get a roofing tutorial out as well. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye everybody.